What's up, guys? It's Justin Stenstrom from EliteLifeNutrition.com and the best-selling author of Elite Mind. In today's show, I want to talk about the 7-step blueprint to overcoming anxiety and taking your life back as a man. I'm going to give you 7 practical tips that you can use right away to overcome anxiety. If you're a high-achieving, high-performing man, whether you're a high-achieving professional, entrepreneur, athlete, or somebody else who is at a level where you're simply operating at a much higher frequency than everybody else, every other average man who, could be a good man, a decent man, but is not performing and dealing with the amount of stress that you deal with on a day-to-day basis. And by doing this, by overcoming your stress and anxiety, you're able to actually perform at even a greater level to overcome the things that you need to overcome and really actually make more money, have more time with your family and friends, be able to have more time to do the things you actually really love in leisure, and actually have just the ability to relax and wind down and maybe even have better sleep because of the amount of stress and anxiety you're able to lower by following these strategies. So with that said, I'm going to dive right into the topics of today and really just break down these 7 fundamental strategies that you need to lower this anxiety and really take your life back as an elite man. So, with that said, number 1 is setting smart goals. And goal setting is one of the most overrated topics, honestly, I feel like, in the personal development world. But you do need to have goals. It's almost like there was a great American general, and I fucking forget who it was at this point now. I should probably just look it up and write it down. But there's a great American general. It might have been Patton. It might have been one of those guys. Essentially said, I think it was actually Eisenhower now that I think of it. But essentially, it's like preparing and having a plan is essential. But when it actually comes to acting out the plan is essentially useless in terms of, like, and the general said it, whether it was Eisenhower, Patton, whoever else, was essentially that you need to plan. You need to have a plan. You need to prepare. You need to have all these things, because the simple act of going all these things and having a strategy and a plan is essential, because it gives you all these insights and makes you think in ways that you wouldn't have thought of otherwise. You need to have a plan, a strategy in place for you to be successful. Now, that actually, when it comes into, say, an actual battle, a war, sometimes that plan gets thrown out the window because there's all types of obstacles, there's variables, there's all things that pop up. And sometimes you just simply can't follow that plan, because if you did, you would be toast. It doesn't actually apply in those certain situations. But with that said, you still need that preparation. You still need that plan. You still need to have a strategy. So when you are faced with these adversities that pop up, you're able to handle them because you already done the thinking and the strategizing beforehand, and you're able to kind of adjust and work with the flow of how things are going. So essentially, planning is imperative, but following that plan is almost impossible when it comes down to the intricacies of that plan and when it comes to all the variables of life. With that said, I think goal setting is one of the most overrated aspects of the personal development world, in terms of people think they like to spend so much time planning, essentially. This is where it's overrated. It's essential, by the way, but it's also overrated because people like to spend so much time planning about things and talking about things and, having all these ideas and these grandiose, thoughts of amazing success. And they never actually do. They never actually go out and take the steps to achieve this goal. They think they can just sit at home and manifest all these amazing things into their life. Meanwhile, their life passes them by. So again, goal setting is incredible. But the fact that too many people don't properly take the action when it comes to the aspect of goal setting and what they're trying to do is the part where it's really incredibly flawed. And I think people spend too much time focusing on the goals. Even coaches out there, even personal development, health coaches, whatever type of coach you want to talk about, personal coaches, I think they really highly overrank and spend too much time with the goal setting aspect. With that said, I want to talk you quickly through the quick framework of goal setting that I like to use, which is called SMART goals, and it comes from an NLP teaching. The SMART goal stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And just real quickly, specific means you get real specific about what your goal is. Rather than saying something like, I want to be healthy, for instance, you could say something specifically like, I want to lose 10 pounds in the next 3 months by eating healthier and exercising regularly. Measurable goals, something like, I will track my weight loss progress by weighing myself every week and keeping a food diet. Now, this obviously is an example for someone who's trying to lose weight, but measuring these goals like every single week, whether your goal is to lower your anxiety, whether your goal is to lose weight, whether your goal is to gain more confidence, having an ability to measure this goal on a week-to-week basis, or perhaps a day-to-day basis if you want to take it that far, is very important, and it's actually essential to see how you're progressing so you can adjust the game plan on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis. Achievable goals. The goals have to be achievable. I will achieve this goal by reducing, again, we're talking about fat here. I will achieve this by reducing my calorie intake by 500 calories per day and exercising 30 minutes 5 times a week. Something like that, super achievable. So again, goal has to be attainable, has to be realistic, and it has to be in your mind something that you know you can actually achieve. If you say something like, I want to lose 50 pounds in a week, you know that that's impossible unless you get a surgery, which, has its obviously downsides and potential side effects and all these other things. But realistically, in terms of what you're doing, the actions that you're taking has to be achievable in the back of your mind. Relevant. As far as relevancy goes, the goal should be relevant to your overall life plan and values. In NLP, for instance, the goals should align with your broader objectives and what truly matters to you. So something like, this goal is relevant to my overall desire to improve my health and well-being and have more energy for my daily practices, or to have more energy to do the things I love. Like, it has to be super relevant and has to really be meaningful for you to actually go out and take the actions needed to achieve the goal. And the last thing for SMART goals is T. For the T is time-bound goals. So it has to be something like something with a clear time frame in it. The importance of setting a deadline to create a sense of urgency really helps you to actually take action and know that you have to act right away, because if you don't, you're wasting time. If you have a goal of, say, 8 weeks to achieve, X amount of goal, lose 20 pounds, or lower your anxiety levels, lower your stress levels, gain the confidence you want to gain, or get a raise at work, whatever it may be, it has to be time bound. Other than that, it's just an idea. It's just a hope, a wish, a projection into the future of what you want to manifest one day magically. That will never actually happen. So it has to be time bound. It has to be specific. It has to be relevant. It has to be achievable, and has to be measurable so you can actually keep track and adjust as needed. That's number one. Number two is reprogramming your subconscious mind. There's an infinite, not an infinite, but there's a number of ways to reprogram your subconscious mind. The tried and true method I come to all the time, the number one go-to method that I've seen work in countless clients and also with myself most effectively over the years, is simply using hypnosis. Using a specific form of hypnosis, though, self-hypnosis, where you create a specific script of what you want to achieve. You have to really outline exactly, again, kind of going back to the goals thing, you have to outline what it is you want to achieve. So you program that into your subconscious mind. Use it daily for at least 4 weeks, but optimally something more like 8 weeks. Using it every single day completely reprograms. It's like basically being a coder, and you're putting in all the codes and the inputs to the computer of your brain. In this exact situation, it's your subconscious mind that you're reprogramming and recoding to get the benefits and the outcomes that you desire. And by doing this, it's incredibly powerful, incredibly effective at actually being able to achieve the things you want to achieve and reach those goals that you want to reach. Again, it is all about the importance of the subconscious mind, which is 95 to 98% of the control of your overall mind is controlled by 95 to 98% of it is controlled by the subconscious mind. I don't know why I messed that up wording wise, but that's how important the subconscious mind is. We think that conscious controls everything because that's what we see and think in real time. But ultimately, it's the background programming, the background software that has been programmed over the years of your entire life. Every single moment, your subconscious mind is processing it and controlling it. Now, to go in there and essentially override the programming, you can do that with something like hypnosis, and it's incredibly powerful if you do it right. Number three, Develop specific tools to face and overcome anxiety and manage your stress. Now, there's a number of techniques here too. You can use a number of things. NLP comes to mind as well, creating triggers, creating angers. But even simple things that are actually incredibly effective too, especially in those moments, like, for instance, the 4-7-8 breathing technique, which was pioneered by a guy named Dr. Andrew Weil. You may have heard of him. He's big in the self-help community, or at least was big for many years in the self-help community. But essentially, the 4-7-8 breathing technique is just simply breathing in for 4 seconds, holding that breath for 7 seconds, and then breathing out for 8 seconds. And as you do so, you make a whoosh sound on the breath out. Excuse me. And by doing that, you literally override the neurotransmitters in your brain, and immediately by doing that, by flooding the blood with oxygen, by flooding your body with oxygen, you're creating a better balance of the positive neurotransmitters for relaxation, and like the things like GABA and glycine, the things for relaxation and your ability to actually think better, as opposed to the chemicals that are going off in stressful, anxious times, like the adrenaline, the cortisol, the epinephrine, norepinephrine, those forms of adrenaline that make you feel like, you're in fight or flight mode, and essentially take away your ability to think and perform at your very best by simply doing this little breathing technique. And you can do it over and over again. Typically, you do like 4 rounds of it. You do what I just did, 4, 7, 8, 4 times, and you can do that like for 4 rounds. And you do that, it just literally takes a minute or two, and you're done. By simply doing that for a few rounds, though, you're able to simply relax your entire body, and then again get back on track to being able to think, being able to act, and being able to function optimally at your very best. Number 4 is to break past your limiting beliefs. And the best way to do that, there's a couple of different ways that we work with clients in doing this, but one of the best ways to do it is to simply challenge yourself in real time to do something in your life, to do something that you're actually scared to do. And by simply doing this, you will break past whatever barriers you've had in your life surrounding that thing, and then consequently surrounding what other barriers and limitations you've created in your own mind. The mind can be such an incredible thing. It can work for you or it can work against you. By simply doing things, and this is simply just one thing, but you can expand this to multiple things, and you will inevitably expand it to multiple areas of your life. But simply focusing on one thing that you've been scared to do, that frightens you, that may even terrifies you. I mean, the scarier it is and the more terrifying it is for you, whether that's socially or physically, whatever, and then you overcome that, the better off you're going to be ultimately. Like, the more groundbreaking it's going to be, the more of, stepping outside your comfort zone and shattering your comfort zone from where it was before to where you are now. Essentially just like leveling up. If this was a video game and you're at like level, 3, and say level 10 is like where you're performing at your unbelievable best, you feel like, you feel like Tony Robbins, where you're just like taking on the world and just performing at the most elite level. If you do this and you're at a 3 and you do something incredible like that, you like level up to like a level 7, 8 within just like that moment of doing that, overcoming that. You can literally just like level yourself up, and almost like a cheat code. If life was a video game, this is like a cheat code of just skipping those levels, where you don't even have to progressively go up. You can just jump them. You can skip those levels, and you feel like a 6, 7, in terms of your ability to just have utmost confidence in yourself. So doing that, taking a challenge and belief, whether, there's so many different things that people are, afraid of, whether it's speaking on stage, whether it's doing, like a dance performance, an acting performance, improv, karaoke, whether it's doing something physical, like the Spartan races are kind of easy these days, but something like that, a few years ago would be pretty challenging. Getting into like a boxing ring and doing like a spar with somebody, jiu-jitsu class where like you're really going at it, wrestling class where you're really going at it, something physical like that. There's infinite amounts of things you could do in your life to really challenge yourself and push yourself out of your comfort zone and just level up. And it's one of the best and fastest ways to do it. Number 5 is to master your nutrition. I talk about this all the time. Getting more fruits and vegetables into your life is the best thing you could possibly do for yourself. Bananas, oranges, apples, wild blueberries, the best of all, strawberries, and organic when you can. Bananas and things that are covered don't really need organic, but the things that are exposed like strawberries, apples, you want to go organic with. But getting fruits and vegetables into your life, dark leafy greens, kale, spinach, broccoli. Broccoli isn't dark leafy green, but kale, spinach, I'm drawing a blank, lettuce, all those things that are good for you that you haven't actually been eating as much of. Get those things into your body. It's going to help your body function better. It's going to help the neurotransmitters function better. It's going to give you more favorable neurotransmitters. It's also going to fight different things that are in your body pathogenically that you possibly don't even realize are there, that could also be contributing to your stress and anxiety, and possibly and probably in fact are in many ways contributing to those things. Number 6 is your self-image transformation. So when it comes to how you feel about yourself when you look in the mirror, 9 times out of 10 when I'm working with guys who have stress and anxiety, they don't feel good about how they look. And oftentimes it comes down to the simple act of being in shape. And not just like, you're not fat, you're not obese, you don't look like dog shit, but you actually feel and look really good. Like I'm not talking about someone who's taking, juice, who's juicing up steroids, who's, on HGH or TRT. There's different things that you can do as you get older. Certainly if your levels are too low. I'm not talking about somebody who's kind of cheating though, and like using those things for whatever gain because they're doing those to compensate for something else. I'm talking about you just simply being at your natural physical peak best. And if you're a little older, in your 30s, 40s, 50s even, and you don't look as good as you did when you were in your 20s, because everybody, if they work out a little bit in their 20s, are going to look pretty damn good. It's not about being at your peak when you were in your 20s. It's about being in your peak now. It's about doing everything possible to look and feel as good as you do now. Because as you get older, people tend to lose the drive and the motivation to go to the gym and hit the weights and lift heavy weights and eat properly, have the right nutrition coming in, take the right supplements, and actually look and feel amazing when they look in the mirror. Again, you're not going to look as good as you were when you were 21, but you should look as good as you can at this age right now. And a lot of these guys, oftentimes when they're overwhelmed with stress, they're overwhelmed with anxiety, going to the gym is the last thing they want to do. But it's really one of the worst things they can do, because at the end of the day, it ends up biting them in the ass and really exacerbating the anxiety and the stress, and ultimately their performance and their happiness and the, earning potential. And then when they come home, they feel even more like shit because they look in the mirror and, after taking a shower, and they say, what the fuck? Why do I still have this belly? Why do I feel like shit? Why do I, not have any lines in my arms anymore when I go to the mirror and I actually flex? I look like shit. I used to have a nice cut bicep. I used to have triceps that I could see and there was good cuts. And, my wife was always turned on when I took my shirt off. Now I barely want to take my shirt off because I feel like shit. If that's what you feel like, you got to get your ass back to the gym. If that's what you feel like, you're really doing yourself a disservice by not keeping yourself in shape, by not actually doing what you need to do to look and feel your very best. And it's really as simple as that. There's multiple studies out there as well that simply say just the act of exercising can be as effective as anti-depression and even anti-anxiety drugs in certain situations. So just that simple act alone, not only mentally, emotionally, but physically, feeling and looking your very best is very important, especially as a man, especially as someone who's going to be there and be the provider for the family. You really got to get your ass back in the gym if you're not at your peak shape right now. And the last thing for the 7-step blueprint to overcoming anxiety and taking your life back as an elite man is to boost your productivity and performance. And you do this in a number of ways. Talk about this all the time. There's plenty of ways to do it. I help guys do this all the time, and strategizing and just really elevating their performance, whether it's 20%, 30%, even 50% in some cases, where they're performing at a level they haven't performed in years or possibly ever, because they're able to manage that anxiety, lower the stress, and actually think more clearly, get more done, structure their days in a way where they're not wasting time. They're not dealing with energy drains, but they're actually staying on point and on focus more and more. And actually doing this and being a little bit more disciplined frees up so much more time at the end of the day and at the end of the week and at the end of the year, so they can actually go home and relax and calm down and enjoy their free time, as opposed to being stressed out all the time and having to always play catch up. And then you go home and you stress out because you're not where you're supposed to be, and you're thinking about work when you're at home and you want to be relaxing, and it's a never-ending vicious cycle, and you're always playing catch up, and you're losing out on money, and you're losing out on happiness, and you're losing out ultimately on your life and where you know you need to be. There's all types of different productivity hacks, strategies for doing this. But one of the best things I love to do is simply scheduling out your day the night before. So many guys overlook this. So many guys don't have a planner. That's more of like a women's thing. If you really think about it, like kind of like a stigma where like women are always the ones planning things. And to a certain extent, that's true. But guys really need to get on top of this. Simply strategizing. And I actually love planners. But if you don't even have a planner, just simply having a little scrap piece of paper and planning out your day, structuring your day to get the most important things done first, and putting them at the top of your list of things that are essential to getting done when you wake up the next day. This is so important. You keep that list on you at all times, and you follow that list to a T. And what you find is you're actually staying on task. If something isn't on the list, you simply don't do it that day when you're writing this out the night before. You got to put the things that are very important on that list and stick to the list. And then maybe you put some leisure time at the bottom of that list, and you can get to that when you have some free time, when you've achieved all the other things. But by doing this, it keeps you on track, it keeps you focused, and actually keeps you at doing the things that are actually really important, as opposed to getting sidetracked and doing all this bullshit that doesn't actually lead to more productivity and more success. There's a bunch of other tips and strategies as well for that, but those are the 7 main points I wanted to share today in the 7-step blueprint. Now, if you guys enjoyed this, if you feel like you could really benefit from learning more of these strategies for lowering your stress, your anxiety, and actually boosting your productivity levels, and really taking your life to the next level as an elite man, or you want to go through some of these strategies more in depth and really learn about how to implement them into your life, I want you guys to go to elitemind.coach right now. That's elitemind.coach right now. It'll take you to a page where you can sign up for a free call with myself, free 15-minute call where we go over exactly what you're dealing with in your life and get you a strategy that can actually literally change your life when it comes to lowering your stress, lowering your anxiety, and taking your productivity to the next level, along with your happiness, your free time, and your ability to enjoy your free time with the ones you love, your family and friends, when you're not working. So you can actually do less work and possibly make even more money and have more time to enjoy your life and live that elite life that we like to talk about all the time here on the show. So again, it's elitemind.coach right now for a free coaching session with me, free call. And that'll take you right to the page where you can sign up. Again, I don't know how long I'm going to do this for, but I am looking to work with like 5 or so guys who are performing at an elite level and really want to take their elite performance to the next level and achieve even greater things in their life. So elitemind.coach right now. Make sure you go right now, guys, and get yourself a free clarity call right now. And we'll figure out what's going on with you and how we can best bring you to peak performance.